what would be the single most important piece of advice you would give anybody who would want to start out becoming more socially skilled?
The most important thing to tell somebody if they decide, hey, I'm going to go on improving my communication journey. Yeah. What would be the most important thing? Mm-hmm. I think here's what it was for me. I talk a lot about the personal compass, which is one of the starter tools that I think we need as we begin our communication journey. And, do you remember the communication compass where you decide the 3 questions? Who am I? Why am I here? And what do I want?
Yeah.
I think that if you were to ask the average person, what do you want out of life right now? There's most people, when you ask them that, are stuck. You're like, oh, I never thought about it. And it's like, how could you never have thought about that? You're 40 years old. Yeah. When you say, who are you? Who are you as a person? People are like, well, and so if that is most people's foundation, how can we expect to truly reveal our greatness to anybody when we can't even see it ourselves, Because most people want to skip right to the what do I say part, but you can't do that.
Hey, what up everybody, it's your boy Jouhzu. Today I have a special video for you guys, which is an interview with Dan O'Connor, who's basically a communication expert. And he is a keynote speaker, he's an author, he's someone really special to me because he was the one to actually give me advice and inspire me to start my YouTube channel way before I've actually started my YouTube channel. So upon watching this video, please right now give it a like. And at the end of the video, go on his channel and subscribe to him, because he has got some really good advice on there. And yeah, man, let me know in the comment section what you think about this interview. I'll see you next week. I'm out. Welcome to the interview, Mr. Dan O'Connor. We have got a special guest, online communication skills. He is someone I've been following for 10 years, and without him, there would be no Jouhzu. Welcome, Dan O'Connor.
Thank you, Harold. Okay.
First question is, how would you say someone who's maybe a little bit more shy can become more assertive?
Well, shy people, when they ask me that, I usually tell them this. I'll say first of all, don't try to be more outgoing when you're not. Like I'm not an outgoing person at all. Like when I'm not publicly speaking with people, I'm kind of a hermit. I don't leave the house. I don't have many friends, and that's perfect for me. But we have to increase our confidence so that when we are going to a meeting, I just by luck, I happen to be in a public speaking, job. Whereas it's the opposite of what I ever thought I would do. But the thing that helps me do it so that I'm more confident when I choose to be, when I have to go to a conference and sit down and meet people that I don't know, or, go in and meet clients and groups of people that I've never met and I'm not into that normally. I think it's just about learning specific tools that you can use in the specific situations where you would need them. And then using them, learning to just sit down with people and ask open-ended questions, so what do you think about yada, yada? So how do you feel about this going on? So tell me about blah, blah, blah. When you can just do that simple, just knowing how to start questions with, so tell me about this, that, or the other. So what do you think about da, da, da? Instead of, where are you from? Or are you having a good time?
Yeah.
If we can just learn that, then what happens is right away you start learning. Okay, even though I get anxiety, and I used to have to bring tissues with me, and because my hands would sweat so bad when I would go in and for a job interview or have to meet people, and it was just gross, and it was nerve-wracking. So I get the nerve-wracking part, but you start to become more confident that at least if I have to do this, I know it will be successful. I know I'm going to get by. It's going to be fine because I have the right tools. And after you practice it and seen that a few times, you're like, I can do this. Then you might, so you're not ever going to be more, I don't think, I've never seen it happen. I don't think you're ever going to be more outgoing. But when you need to kind of put that hat on, like if you're going to go out and date, for example, if you know how to do those first few steps of dating, if you know how to talk to the opposite sex, and you know when to walk away, you know what to say at the beginning, how to leave them wanting more, that type of stuff. If you know to go through those steps, then your confidence level will rise. And people like shy people. I would say, like if you're dating, go find a talkative, outgoing person and learn how to approach them, and then let them be the outgoing one, and you keep being the shy one. But when you need to, you can be a clear, assertive communicator, even though you're more of an introvert.
Yeah,
that's a really long answer, but that's what I would say.
I like the fact that you said that, because I truly agree that like experience is like one of the ways you learn. Once you have gone through the steps, you can tell yourself, oh, I've gone through it again. I know I've gone through it before. I know I can do it again. However,
right.
What would you say is how would somebody get the courage to actually try out going that step forward, to get the experience, like to become more assertive?
Oh, like how would, okay, I see what you mean. Like if you, let's say that you're new out of school and you don't have, let's say, business communication experience type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I've never had that question, how you would get the experience. Normally, I think here's what it is. You have to participate in the world that you're in. When you talk to most people on the street, I've noticed lately in my life, and you ask them, do you know where the Avenida del Parque Street is? Most people will be like, I don't know, and you're standing right on it. You know what I mean? They just don't pay attention. They're not participating in their environment. Yeah. But I think that if you choose to do that, you get involved with, if hopefully you're either going to school so that you can learn about your dream, or you're living the dream, one or the other. Most jobs or vocations or whatever you're doing involve talking to other people, right? And so I think that as long as you choose to participate in the world, and wherever you are, make the best of it. But I would, let's say I might choose to get involved in I studied the philosophy of love. So I would go and get involved in the philosophy department, where I could just sit there a lot of the time and everyone else would talk and I would be able to soak it in, but I'd still be participating, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then you kind of realize what your lane is. And so if you have yet to really get your feet wet in the world, try anywhere you can to just be involved with the world around you. And then what you do is you start to learn your lane, and you start to learn, like, that is when I'm going to, that's my cue. Like when this happens, that's when I'm going to say, that's my moment. I'm going to now say what I have to say. And you start to be more comfortable recognizing the cues that signal now you're on. And even if it's just once in a while, people really listen to those people who choose their words and the times they're going to speak them wisely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you deal with difficult people at the workplace who are superior to you?
Well, that's how I got into this line of work, because I was always the person who was sent out to deal with the difficult people. Yeah. I think we're all kind of dealing with different versions of the same difficult person.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're all having the same experience, just in kind of different forms. Yeah. And I think the only thing that really brings any of us out of it is when we realize that it's all about us, all of it,
really?
From start to finish. Right?
In what sense is it all about us? Can you explain?
Well, like, I have to realize when I'm dealing with a difficult person, that of course there are circumstances that are out of my control. If I'm driving down the street, and like recently, for example, I was robbed, where I was carjacked, and the guy held me up at gunpoint, kidnapped me, tied me up, and I went around taking money out of my cash cards, and made me give him the PIN numbers and things like that so that he could take all the money out. And when at the end of the day, when I finally got loose because he left me tied up, when I finally got loose and got away and called the cops, I was like, woohoo! This is the best day of my life. And they're like, what is wrong with you? And I said, I have not one thing wrong. He did not kill me. He did not stab me. I'm good to go. All I lost was my car and my wallet, my money, all that stuff. But like that, I couldn't help him robbing me. I don't know what I might have done differently so that did not happen.
Yeah.
But we decide how we experience our experiences, and under normal circumstances, setting those types of, well, not even setting those types of weird things aside, we have to decide how we're going to experience all of our experiences. We have to decide, every difficult person that we meet, are you going to be someone who crucifies me and chains, puts chains on me? In which case, I would be putting those chains on myself because I'm giving them to you to put on me.
Yeah.
Or am I going to use, whatever experience it is to somehow become a more loving person and a better version of myself and a more, a better reflection of my father.
Yeah.
So I think that it's very rare that we can have an experience in our life with a difficult person. Not some a mad killer, but where we can't bring it back to us. It's not about. It's never about the difficult person. They're just bringing something up in us that we have not yet worked through, and they're going to keep showing up in different areas or with different masks on until we realize that it's not about them. It's about us. And,
So let's say you're in a conversation and maybe in a group conversation. How would you get somebody to stop you, stop interrupting you?
Well, there are a couple different ways that I like to deal with interrupters. If I think I have to stop you from interrupting me because you're trying to reestablish the rules of engagement here, then I would use the 3-step anti-interrupter. You probably know this one, where you have to practice it in advance so that you can use it when you need it. But you would say to somebody, do you ever watch Judge Judy?
Rarely. When you see
her stopping an interrupter, she always uses the same process, and she does it. There's 1, 2, 3. You want to look at them and make direct eye contact and nod your head forward, because that's showing very assertive language. I'm coming at you like a bull. You know what I mean? And number 2, you want to use a stop gesture where you put up your hand, because when you do that, there's no words more powerful than doing that. That gets people to stop when you do that in their face, And the third thing is you want to use an anti-interrupter statement, which you have 2 choices. One is, I'm speaking, and the other is, I'm still speaking. And when you do that, because, Harold, what does the average person say when somebody tries to interrupt them and let's say that they fight against it and want to stop the interrupter? What is the first thing out of most people's mouth? Somebody's trying to interrupt them,
Either I would try and talk them, or they say, hold on.
Oh, you're much more assertive than most people. Most people, you hear them say things like, I'm sorry, I'm not finished. Excuse me, I'm not done. Most people, when somebody's trying to steal the floor from them, they apologize to the person that's trying to steal the floor from them. And so I need to practice, and a lot of us need to practice saying things like, I'm still speaking. And if they keep going and don't, most people, if you were to do that, if we were to have a conversation and you were to interrupt me and I were to say, Harold, I'm still speaking, most people are like, oh, geez, whatever, okay. And if they don't, right off the bat, kind of do that, then you tell them, Harold, I'm still speaking. And if they try to bulldoze over you, they get louder and louder and louder, you just keep using their name over and over again and say, Harold, 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 Harold. Because even when you know that somebody's trying to shut you up by doing that, you can't help but respond with a what when you keep hearing your own name over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's how I would normally deal with an interrupter. Biggest thing is cost-benefit analysis, and then you just use the simple, I'm still speaking, and then you keep going, and then I'm still speaking, and then you keep going. Most people, 99% of people, cannot come back to that.
Yeah.
Because You're just laying it out there. It's powerful and it's unexpected.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. Harold, because when I see debates, Trump does it. He does this one. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're an expert in body language. What would you say? What kind of aspect of body language are people the worst at?
When we focus on body language, most of the teachings that I see and most of the people that I observe are deliberately trying to do something ego-based, and showing, like I was just saying, trying to show themselves as confident or assertive or successful, when if we would just focus on how can I show you how much I love you?
Yeah.
I think that would change the whole world. You know what I mean? It would change our world. But I think that's it. Is people, when you look at them being authentic and loving, and all the rest of successful and powerful and all that just falls into place naturally if you can do that. You can be a hunchback, like the Notre Dame. But if you're loving, all that other stuff just falls naturally into place.
All right. To wrap this up, I want to ask you one last question. For anybody who wants to be skilled socially, or good in communications training, communication skills, what would be the single most important piece of advice you would give anybody who would want to start out becoming more socially skilled?
The most important thing to tell somebody if they decide, hey, I'm going to go on improving my communication journey. Yeah. What would be the most important thing?
Mm-hmm.
I think here's what it was for me. I talk a lot about the personal compass, which is one of the starter tools that I think we need as we begin our communication journey. And, do you remember the communication compass where you decide the 3 questions? Who am I? Why am I here? And what do I want?
Yeah.
I think that if you were to ask the average person, what do you want out of life right now? There's most people, when you ask them that, are stuck. You're like, oh, I never thought about it. And it's like, how could you never have thought about that? You're 40 years old,
Yeah.
When you say, who are you? Who are you as a person? People are like, well, and so if that is most people's foundation, how can we expect to truly reveal our greatness to anybody when we can't even see it ourselves? If I just focus on the person that I want to be and let my substance and work on my substance, focus on that, then the form of my message really tends to take shape so much more naturally because the substance is solid. Yeah. And I know who I am in this conversation and why I'm here and what I really want. Because most people want to skip right to the what do I say part. But you can't do that. Like, what do you say? The goal should be so that I can, reflect the person, the person who made me. I want to make my mama proud. So how can I know what to say if I don't really first know what I'm here to do? So I think that is key. But I wanted to add to that, if somebody's waiting for, give me a good communication tip, I think that the tools that would help people, make changes in the results that they're getting from one day to another would be first our danger phrase and power phrase list. I mean, I can't believe more people don't use that, so I could just start purging some phrases and adding some more. And I think if you have a danger phrase and power phrase list along with a personal compass, overnight you will be in an elite group of communicators that actually know what they're doing in the world and are starting to form the words that specifically bring them closer to their goal, rather than most of us who are just kind of free falling most of the time. First thing into the brain, first thing out of the mouth.
Yeah.
So that's it. Personal compass, your danger phrase and power phrase list.
What is
You're
that?
on the road. This is it. This is a danger phrase and power phrase list, for example. And this is if you look, you can see that that's my handwriting, because I'll still, like, when I go to a conference or something, even though it's my workbook, I don't fill it in advance. And so then as I'm going around town or before or after the conference, I'll keep my list around. And the way you use it is in many different ways. One way is, you know how we will use language, kids especially. I did. We will use language patterns to show what our identity is. So that I'm going to show you who I am by the words that I say. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like punk rock. My brother was a punk rocker, so he would use certain phrases so that he could identify himself as, I'm a punk rocker.
Yeah.
So if I were to hear some things where I'm going to say, I do not want to be associated with those people, I will write it on my danger phrase list to be like, beware of those phrases, because once I start saying them, people are going to connect me with those people.
Yeah.
That's one way to use it. Another way is, if you just realize you get horrible results, then I'll put it on the danger phrase list. And the power phrases, those really are the whole point of it. It's not to sound, better or more powerful or anything. It's what are the words that I have to say to get me closer to the goal more quickly.
Yeah.
It's just like a danger phrase or power phrase. It could be absolute gibberish, or I could be replacing a very good phrase with a seemingly obnoxious phrase, but it's all about one thing, bringing me closer to the goal. And so if you keep a list like that, like overnight, in this moment between event and response, you will stop. And before you speak, if you have taken the time to do this, because in the process of making it, you'll speak it, hear it, read it, and write it. If you do that, you're just so much more likely to stop and then choose the right words. And you'll be like, oh, that Dan O'Connor, he's so right. I just can't believe what I got out of that danger phrase power phrase list. Right, Harold?
Thank you so much for the elaborate answers. I appreciate your time, Mr. O'Connor, Communication Skills Training. Do you want to tell my followers where they can find you and about your website, please?
Yes. It's at danocconnortraining.com. And Harold, I can't believe I didn't even use my mic the whole time. I hope you can hear me okay. It's Dan O'Connor, DANOCONNOR training.com.
Yeah.
And please subscribe to our YouTube channel or become a member. And also we have a new VIP membership at Dan O'Connor Training. Harold, do you have a VIP membership?
I have not, but I'm gonna get one.
I'm giving you one. And when you get a VIP membership, you get access to everything online from now until the very end of time. Anything that's digital, you can access. And it's for one low price, and it's on special right now. And for Harold, it's a big special $0.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.